So today I want to talk about the Republican Party and who they have allowed to become their base, who that they have been willing to allow into their party and also allowed to have a microphone. I make this analogy many times here on the channel, but the last Republican president that took the microphone away from a conspiracy theorist was John McCain. When during the town hall, he took a microphone away from a lady who was accusing Barack Obama of being a Muslim. And McCain said, you know, ma'am, he's not a Muslim. He's not anyone you should be afraid of. He's just someone who I disagree with politically, and that's why I'm running for president. That's pretty much the last time that we've seen that from the Republican Party, because ever since Donald Trump came along, and then once he added J.D. Vance to the ticket, they have absolutely doubled down on their conspiracy theories, and they've doubled and quadrupled down on their racism. Now, we did a video here on the channel talking about the Young Republicans, the group chat that got exposed, and these people were referring to black people as watermelon people. These people were bragging about raping their opponents, talking about bringing back gas chambers, you name it. They were saying all sorts of sick, vile, disgusting, racist shit. And neither the president nor the vice president will come out and condemn it. As a matter of fact, J.D. Vance just blew right past it. And, they try to make it off like, oh, these are kids, and they were just making jokes. It's not that big of a deal, but we never hear them actually come out and say, we condemn these things, we condemn the racism, we condemn what it is they're saying. They just lean harder into it. So I stumbled across some clips of some MAGA pastors and podcasters, and the reason that I'm playing them for you is so that you understand who the Republican Party is these days. And whenever you go out to vote, you've got to say to yourself, do I want to be aligned with this level of racism that they've allowed into their party? So here's a Pastor Hames, and this clip has been making its way around the internet because he is saying that Christians should defend slavery. Yeah, he's saying it right out loud in 2025. Take a look.
The institution of slavery is not inherently evil. I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know. Just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk through this because it is very important that every Christian affirm what I just said. And not only should they affirm it, every Christian in today's society should be able to defend what I just said, okay? Every Christian should be able to defend it. Big evangelicalism has been getting this wrong for years, basically since the Genesis, since the advent of Big Eva. They haven't had a good answer for the slavery issue, all right? Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach. And when we go beyond the Bible, there are dire consequences.
Okay, now I know a lot of you are going to be saying, yeah, Brando, but that's just one dude who claims to be a Christian. That's not all Christians. Not all of us think that way. Well, then where are the Christians who are speaking up and speaking out against this? And why doesn't the Republican Party speak out against that type of rhetoric? Folks, that should just be nothing more, like I've said many times, that should just be a guest on the Jerry Springer show, just somebody there to be an agitator, somebody to be there for comic relief that we could all sit back and say there's no way anyone would be serious about this. But that is now the face of the Republican Party. That is who they'll put out there front and center, and they won't condemn it. When you show them these types of clips, they won't condemn them, or they will accuse you of being the racist. I've had that happen time and time again. When I would point out something that was clearly racist, people would say to me that I was racist because I pointed it out. And here is a MAGA dude, Wesley Todd, just admitting that, yeah, he may be racist. Take a look.
Like you said, my name is Wesley Todd. Most of you probably know me from helping to co-host the Right Response live stream. That's 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and getting myself into a little bit of trouble on X. So that's what I do, and close to a full-time capacity at this point. I worked in corporate America for about 3 years. And, if professional racist, if it was a job title, I think I'm getting pretty close to it. It's not something you find on LinkedIn. It's not an Indeed listing. But I mean, I get paid to sit down and say, hey, young men, you need to go out there and you need to join ICE and you need to deport 50 million people. So that's what I do. I really enjoy doing it.
So he said out loud that he is a professional racist, or he's getting pretty close to being so. And again, no one will call that out. They will get more upset at us for pointing it out, and they never come around and call it out, and that's the part that never makes any sense to me. Now, I've never played a clip of this next dude, I don't think, on the channel. I try to refrain from it because this is the type of person who should have never been front and center in American politics, should have never been a contender, someone we should have never even heard about, but we have because of the likes of Donald Trump. Here is Nick Fuentes, who represents the absolute farthest right, most extreme racist side of the Republican Party, and he's just saying, yeah, this is the type of people that are coming forward in the Republican Party. So let's wait and see if J.D. Vance ever calls this dude out, but don't hold your breath. Folks, I would like to talk to you about Chapter. Medicare is supposed to benefit seniors, but it can be so confusing. And with many agents chasing commissions instead of caring about folks, millions of seniors end up on plans that aren't right for them every year, paying too much or not getting the care that they need. And that's just wrong. Listen, Medicare annual enrollment runs from October 15th through December 7th. Even if you like your current Medicare plan, it's critical to look at 2026 plans or you risk losing coverage you need. That's because plans change every year and some just disappear. That's why I want you to know about Chapter. They're the only advisors that check every plan nationwide to make sure you get one that works best for you. Their help is free and they can review your options in under 20 minutes. If you're on the right plan, they'll tell you. If not, they'll help you switch. By doing this, they've saved people an average of $1,100 a year. So call Chapter today, get it done fast, and rest easy. You can reach them at 314-732-0423.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, everyone's a groiper now. I don't even know these people. I've never met these people, and I don't know that they identify as groipers. I don't believe they talked about me. If they did, I'm sure it'd be in here. But it just goes to show this is the mood of my generation. This is the mood. This is the zeitgeist of the under 25, under 30 crowd, especially for white men. It's just where they are. These guys were doing a great thing. These guys are, they're not woke, they're based, and they're doing what they're supposed to be. They're rising up in the party leadership. They're rising up in the government. The mistake that they made is that they were sloppy.
What he's saying is that white supremacists are rising up in government, and of course he's all happy about that, but where are the Republicans calling it out? I'm going to keep asking that question. Where are the Republicans calling it out? And why does J.D. Vance and Donald Trump not call it out? Because that's their base. And because that's who they are. Because I can assure you that if someone was using my name or my likeness or my channel to say racist shit, I'd be the first one to come out and say that person in no way, shape, or form represents Tennessee Brando or anything. And there was a time in history when people would show up on these shows, these over-the-top white supremacist people would show up on these shows, and the host would say their views does not represent the views of this station. Or you would see it roll across the bottom of the screen. But these days, these people have been given a microphone, and he just says, well, this is where we're headed with American politics. This is where young men are headed. This is where their head's at. Well, they're wrong. And we have to call them out for being wrong. And another group of people that I have to call out is those on the left like Bill Maher, who just wants to set back every chance he gets and criticize woke. People like Joe Rogan, who just demonizes woke every chance they get. That type of demonizing that constantly is what opens the door for these racists to go ahead and walk right on in. Because what you're saying is anytime someone points out racism, they're woke, they're a bad guy. And these kids who have grew up in these echo chambers don't know any better. Because they find it funny, they find it hilarious, they find camaraderie in it, which is pretty sickening to me, but they do. And when people like us sits back and calls it out, well, they're just woke. And these are just a bunch of kids having fun. Well, I guarantee you, if there was a bunch of kids having fun in the name of the MeidasTouch Network, Ben Meiselas will be the first one to come out and say, hey, that doesn't represent the MeidasTouch Network. That's not what we're about. But you won't hear anyone on the right do that. They lean into these kind of people. These are the type of people that none of us should have ever even heard about. They should just have their little fringe group over here in the corner, and they should just be loud here and there, but the microphone should have been taken away a long time ago. However, we don't have John McCain around anymore. There's no John McCains in the Republican Party. There's not enough of them anyway. And the main two at the top find this type of thing funny. The main two at the top continues to empower this. And when the main two at the top says, it's just a bunch of kids having fun, it empowers those young Republicans to double down and do it harder. And I heard one of them saying, what happened was I got called a racist. I got called, being anti-Semitic. So I went and looked into it and learned that, I guess I am those things. You made me those things. It's your fault. No, it's not our fault. We will continue to sit here and call out racism, call out bigotry, and call out evil at all costs. And if our president and vice president wants to align with that, then all I can say to the people on our side is you got to line up and you got to vote like you never have before. And we got to start making racist afraid again. Okay? That's what it needs to be. There needs to be that moment in time brought back where they say, hey, we can't speak up here because it's not going to land. Yeah, they're free to say it. They're free to say it wherever they want to say it, but they're not free to say it here because we're not going to platform it. We're not going to solidify it. We're not going to make it a political party. But unfortunately, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump has decided to make that the Republican Party, and until they say otherwise, that is what I'm going to refer to the Republican Party as. They're that young Republican chat group. They're Nick Fuentes. They're these MAGA podcasters and preachers that says this off-the-wall lunatic stuff. Until they come out and distance themselves from that, then I'm going to assume they're guilty by association.